Well, this is an incredible story. You were underwater. You do kind of breathing techniques underwater.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
I don't know.
You just blacked out?
I just blacked out. It seemed normal.
Okay.
And then just nothing.
Okay, so guys, you guys were all sitting by the side of the pool. Who was the first one who noticed?
I noticed that he wasn't okay because he was laying on his side and his face was starting to turn blue. I alerted my brothers.
So you did you dive in and help Christian? You get your goggles on?
Yeah, because me and Sam dove into the water and grabbed one arm and pulled him next to the steps.
Wasn't he heavy? Was it heavy to pull your dad?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it was. But with
So a couple of boys saved their father from drowning in their pool at home. And Hoda there on today's show apparently is trying to grill them for details. Because wait a second, isn't this guy kind of heavy? I'm not sure if this all went down the way you said so. But they did save him. They performed CPR on him, but they never took a CPR class. Instead, they just couch potatoes who watch movies like this.
Class, raise your hand. Nobody?
No.
Okay, so you didn't know how to do CPR?
No.
Okay, but you did know because what was one of your favorite movies?
The Sandlot and Hook.
The Sandlot and Hook. And you remember in Sandlot when that pretty lifeguard did CPR on that little boy? Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, he looks pretty crappy. Squints! Come on, man.
Oh, God, he looks like a dead fish.
So somehow that scene got them to realize how to save their father. I still don't know how this whole thing works, but they did say they worked together. The two on the left were the brothers, and then the kid on the right was the friend. They all worked together. They point out how they saved his life. One ran off to do one thing. It's a coordinated, there's a coordinated save here. These kids are really on top of their feet. Let's watch their story a little bit more.
Job, and it was a very important job because your dad's phone was locked. You had to get help, right?
Yes.
So where did you go?
I ran to a neighbor's house, but they weren't home at the time, and a car started driving by. I stopped them and told them my dad can't breathe, help him.
And how fast were you running?
I was running as fast as I could.
Oh my gosh, so all this was going on. Tell me what you were thinking, Brendan, in that moment.
I was I've had some moments with him with happy, sad, and some mad moments, but I'm like, I don't want this to be the last moment.
Oh, he didn't want it to be the last moment, Jessica. These kids have material on their father for the rest of their lives. There's no more grounding. There's no more, hey, that's the last snack. There's no more, it's bedtime. These guys saved his life.
Kids are so honest. He's like, with my dad, it's not all great, but I didn't want him to die. Kids are so honest. What's funny too is the dad was quoted saying, I don't know how they could have carried me. I'm 185 pounds. It must have been God, God was there. And you ask the kids and they're like, how did you do it? And they're like, well, we watched The Sandlot. It's like divine intervention of The Sandlot. Yes, very good.
Well, also, I assume in water, I've never done a water save before. It's probably a little easier, especially if the person's unconscious. Maybe they're floating, maybe all they need to do is a nudge, I assume. And also, it didn't seem like he was too far from the edge of the pool. So, I guess a little bit of luck included with their knowledge of The Sandlot, which, by the way, I wanna ask you this. I assume you've seen it. I've got a 10-year-old kid who is obsessed with baseball. So I've seen it about 182 times. That scene is troubling. Yeah. They can't make those movies now. This is from 1993. They can't make those movies anymore now where you have some kid and it's glorified that he's faking an injury so that the pretty girl at the lifeguard tower can put her face on his, and then he wakes up and goes, yeah, got her.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I didn't want to be the guy who's always turning the fun stories into serious ones. But let's talk about grooming. They're like, we can't bring kids around transgender people. We can't bring kids to drag shows. What will they think of it? You're sexualizing this scene, which it was a sexually written scene. Let's start with that. But also she's like, the pretty girl in the scene. Isn't that why you remember it? And it's like, we push heterosexuality and sexuality onto kids all the time. And so the groomer's talking about, queerness being overtly sexual is ridiculous. And this is just another episode of that same thing.
I hate it when you libs make fun stories all serious. How could you do this? I'm gonna blame this on you.
Can't we have a good time?
By the way, the voiceover at the end of that scene, again, because I've seen it 200 times, is whatever the kid's name was, he kissed her long and he kissed her good. And we're all proud of him that day. I was like, bro, this is really getting bad. And then at the end of the movie, the updates on them as adults, he married the lifeguard person who's 10 years older than him, it seemed, because she remembered that kiss. And they had 12 kids. Stop.